Time for a look at your West Tennessee forecast with meteorologist Brian Davis.
Welcome in, everyone. Happy Thursday. I don't know. I feel like today's Friday. Have you been doing that? Like maybe a day off or something? But it seems like Friday out there with all this great weather going on now. I was out doing some lawn work, and it's still very humid. The temperatures have certainly dropped a lot, but I would still take that break, maybe every 30 minutes if you're out there. I think I was out there just a little bit too long. You know me, I'm terrible to not even do what I'm supposed to do, but I did come in about every 30 minutes, but I think that still wasn't quite enough. So be careful out there. Still take those breaks. Yes, it has cooled down. We're not in a heat advisory or anything like that, but it's still quite humid with those dew points in the 70s. You'll see that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at our numbers for today. So far, not too bad. We've topped out at 88 degrees. Our normal high would be at 90, and we set a record this day in history back in 1999 of 101. And I certainly remember 1999. Remember that? We were kind of turning the page towards Y2K, and all the frenzy was going on where the computer's going to shut the world down. It was a major, major deal, Y2K compliance. So I had to get a Y2K compliant sticker put on my shoulder just to make sure that the weatherman would not shut down as we headed into 2000. It was crazy. But anyway, no Y2K today. Today's talk is AI. That's the big deal on computers. Are they going to rule the world? They certainly help in the weather field. I'll tell you that for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look when they're working. That's for sure. All right, a beautiful look at Ripley, one of my favorite camera shots. Look at that, almost like we're looking at the beach there. We're 88, and then here in Memphis, a little farther down the road, 91. But notice the dew point still at 70. That's better than 80 and 86 that I saw at one point a few days ago. But still on the humid side, 86 at UT Martin, so it'll feel kind of humid walking into the building there from the parking lot. And in Savannah, a little bit of hazy, but sunshine out there, 90 degrees with a dew point of 72, winds out of the north at about 9 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at our temperatures across the board. We've got anything from 84 degrees to 86 degrees. We've had a few patchy clouds move in along the I-40 corridor, so that's kind of dropped the temperature back just a little bit, and those northeast winds continue to blow in, and that's continuing to help to cancel out what would normally be a higher temperature day. So we'll take it. Nice break. Let's see. The hot spot on the board is going to be Memphis, and that's 91, so that's still better. Selmer coming in at 90, and then just down the road in Henderson and Jackson, we've got 84 degrees. Parsons at 84, and then Camden coming in at 86. We got 88 in Ripley. We just looked at that. Dyersburg, 88. And let's pick out one more area. Dresden coming in at 88 degrees. So, it's nice enough. You can get out there even in the hottest part of the day. But instead of taking a break every 15 minutes, I'd still do that about every 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Get that good glass of water and whatnot. Hang around inside for 5 minutes or so before you go back out there and make sure you're cooled down. And, if you've got a chronic health illness or something, you definitely want to do it longer than that. Well, there's our winds right out of the northeast. Yeah, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Certainly feels much better than it has in the last week and a half or so. Cold fronts off to the south of us. Still some big heat down there along the Gulf Coast. Be careful if you're headed down there for that last minute vacation before school starts over many areas coming up. But we're going to be under a nice cooler influence of air. We've got a low pressure area and a storm system developing back to the north and west. We're going to talk about that with our severe weather outlook. Let's go ahead and get into that. For the rest of today, though, we're looking just fine. We've got the severe outlook is over the Gulf Coast. So again, from like Gulfport over there towards Panama City, over to just north of Tampa, we got that 1 out of 5 risk. And mainly what you'd wind up with if you're headed down there the next couple of days is you'll get some on and off thunderstorms, but that water spout situation can crank up when we got that type of layout there. Now, water spout's typically not a long track tornado, and they're typically far more weaker than their than their cousin, but they can come on shore briefly and do some minor to medium range damage there. So you have to kind of watch out there. But if you should get in that, just go into your condo, heed to the authorities there, get away from the windows and let that thing do its thing. They usually don't last that long. But here in West Tennessee, it's just going to be the scattered storms making a return as we head into the late part of the day tomorrow, mainly. Let's go ahead and take a look at tomorrow. Notice we've got a severe weather outlook over Arkansas. It comes all the way to the Tennessee state line on the Arkansas-Tennessee line, and it's the 1 out of 5, but just a few miles to the west, we've got the old 2 out of 5, which is a step up in some severe weather possibility over much of the great state of Missouri. So we'll be watching because some of those storms are going to be coming through here on Friday night into early Saturday morning, and I don't see how we're going to escape at least some strong storms through here. Now notice when I switch over, we're going to go local here. Here's a look at Friday's outlook for tomorrow. They're right up against the Tennessee-Arkansas line, but watch what happens as we go into Saturday. And we're going to skip forward. Look at that. We see the eastern counties, Decatur County, Benton County, Hardin County, McNairy County, Eastern Chester, all of those in a 1 out of 5. Well, there's no magic there. We're not just going to skip everybody else, So we're going to be seeing the storms on the approach as we head into late evening Friday. Some of those are going to start to spread into the area, even into the late afternoon. We'll have some scattered storms, especially across the western counties, but that system will continue marching through. Now, we are going to cool down into the 60s overnight Friday into Saturday, so the overall system will weaken as it's moving through, but we'll have a stormy night Friday night into Saturday morning. And again, here's that look for Friday. And again, here's that look for Saturday. And what will happen as we get into Saturday morning, those strong storms will be moving towards Middle Tennessee and slowly exiting out of the area there on Saturday morning. But we'll still have some more rounds of storms on and off through the day on Saturday, very isolated to scattered variety. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Futurecast. We'll get a look at this. Nothing today. A few clouds. It's mainly the light green as we go into tomorrow. Here's noon. A few scattered isolated storms. With this model, I'd look at the yellow areas. That's typically where the storms are. And then you can see overnight into Friday night into Saturday morning. But some really nice breaks on Saturday. Now, we're going to get more detailed with this a little bit later tonight. I had somebody tell me they're going to be going to get a big old shipment of plywood. Is it going to get rainy and dicey on Saturday? So I wanted to look at their message, and we're going to look at timing, and then we're going to do another update with a model that's going to be a little bit more accurate later this evening, definitely at the 10 o'clock broadcast. But there you can see we're not going to escape the storms. We're kind of rolling this back. We'll let it come back through one more time. So here we are today. We're rolling through. No problems today or tonight. And we're heading into Friday. Here's 10 o'clock. Here's noon, mostly west of us there. And then by the time we get to like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening tomorrow, it's going to start to be some storms in the area. And those will be pushing through mainly Friday night into Saturday morning. That's when it's going to be the most active as far as those storms. Now, the problems with those, well, it could be some brief damaging winds and some brief periods of large hail. Well, here we are for the rest of this evening. We'll be as high as 90 degrees in the as we're moving into that hottest part of the evening here, and then we'll start to drop off into the 80s for all of us. By 7 o'clock, we'll be back down into the low 70s, and we'll have some upper 60s out there too. We'll take a look at that here, but for the morning, there you go. Here in the Jackson and Medina area, you can kind of gauge it based on that. And of course, we've got our individual forecasts that roll on our 24-hour channel. Take a look at your town, and you'll see, your temperatures, but they're going to be close to the 69. A lot of us in the upper 60s in the morning. We'll start off dry, a pretty start to the day, but then clouds will increase, and we'll start to see those thunderstorms start to crank up in the late afternoon and evening. tomorrow night. And again, those will be pushing throughout the overnight hours into Saturday. So 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms is going to be on Saturday. It's mainly going to be the first half of the day. And then again, on Friday, most of the storms will come in more towards the late afternoon and evening. Most of Friday looks to be dry during the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at our 7-day forecast. We're still going to keep those nice temperatures in here, much cooler over the next several days. We've even got some low 80s in there. So we'll get some storms on and off this weekend, but we'll trade that off for 88 for the high on Saturday. And check out Sunday. That's going to be kind of as that low moves to the east of us, we'll get kind of more of a northerly flow coming back through on the back side of that. And that's going to bring us to about 81 degrees for the high on Sunday. And then we'll be at 84 on Monday, 87 on Tuesday. A few scattered to isolated storms Monday and Tuesday as well. And then drying it out there Wednesday into Thursday. So not too bad. We'll be here to watch the storms. Yes, we're not going to get out of the weekend without some scattered storms. You know that. But again, on timing, most of that is going to be, if we zeroed right in on the worst of it, it's going to be Friday night into Saturday morning. And then, of course, there'll be some stuff outside that window, but that's when it'll be the most active. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for now. Thanks for watching West Tennessee Weather Channel. Take care, everyone.
We are West Tennessee Weather Channel.